Good afternoon. To give folks an update as to the status at the department following about 1 week from when the governor took his aggressive action in expanding unemployment eligibility to individuals affected by COVID-19 across the Granite State. To date, we have seen 34,000 new individuals registering in the unemployment system. In addition to that, with the hotline that the governor created at 271-7700, we have seen approximately 10,000 individuals calling into that hotline that have received direct service, talking with a live human being, and they've been able to get assistance with answering their questions and with expediting that claim filing process. As the governor had indicated, from an unemployment perspective, this is really an unprecedented historic crisis. At the department, I can assure you that it is all hands on deck. Staff understand and appreciate we are on the financial front lines of this crisis. As the governor has emphasized with us, all of this new eligibility that he has created through the action this past Tuesday does little if employment security can't deliver the benefits to people that need them so critically if we can't deliver these right away. That being said, staff at the department worked through the weekend after having worked long hours throughout last week in order to be able to position ourselves to, as expeditiously as possible, process these additional claims. We should have benefits that are going into people's bank accounts by this Wednesday of this week, so 2 days from now. Expectations going forward for individuals that are just learning about the unemployment system right now, not having any experience with it in the past. Expectations should be payments will be made 8 days following that filing of that initial claim. Folks need to remember to read the instructions on the website, on the screens that they are viewing as they go through that application. There is critical information that needs to be followed in order to assure timely receipt of benefits. And a reminder, after filing that initial claim, individuals for each week of continued eligibility, so each week that they have either a partial or a total reduction in their work, in their hours, because of COVID-19, they need to go onto our website and they need to file a continued claim. And again, that is for each week. That website, again, is nhes.nh.gov. Individuals can go on that website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and file their claim completely online. Again, for individuals that are having difficulty, the governor's hotline at 271-7700 will continue to be a resource for individuals 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. We will continue to have weekend hours as well from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., both Saturdays and Sundays. We will continue to keep that resource open and available. And again, it's through the assistance we've been able to get through our friends at Emergency Management as well as the Department of Information Technology. With self-employed, that was another category that the governor created eligibility for with his action taken last week. Individuals calling in that have been self-employed, business owners, what we would ask for them is to have information that they would be able to reference to look towards their 2019 earnings, so we can work with them as we establish what their benefit rate would be going forward. But let me assure you, staff at the Department of Employment Security, they are ready for this. We are delivering, and we will continue to deliver. That being said, the Disaster Unemployment Assistance Program that the governor has continued to emphasize as being important to be passed on the federal level, we would like to emphasize how critical that is again. New Hampshire starts this crisis with a solid, solvent trust fund at nearly $300 million, but getting that disaster unemployment assistance passed from the federal government will be critical for New Hampshire as we continue to deliver these resources. And lastly, anytime there's a crisis, we always worry about potential fraud. And what I would instruct individuals that are receiving a call from the department that they might question as to whether or not it is legitimate, just simply hang up and return a call back to the hotline at 271-7700. Again, individuals from the department are making calls Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it is not unusual to be receiving a call over the weekend. But if you are unsure as to that call, please hang up and just call back to 271-7700. Thank you.